I made it clear that if they go into Rafah, they haven't gone into Rafah yet. If they go into Rafah, I'm not supplying the weapons that have been used historically to deal with Rafah, to deal with the cities, to deal with that problem.
Okay, so that was President Biden last week, just 2 days after claiming that our support for Israel is ironclad at a Holocaust remembrance ceremony. But now Joe Biden says that if Israel does move forward and invade Rafah, the U.S. will cut off military support. Secretary of State Antony Blinken reaffirmed the president's message yesterday.
Yeah, joining us now, a member of the House Committee on Foreign Affairs, New York Congressman Mike Lawler. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
What do you make of these statements from Biden and his administration?
Well, it's putting electoral politics ahead of all other considerations. I mean, you look at the New York Times polls out this morning showing the president trailing in numerous swing states by wide margins. And obviously, they are very concerned about the political consequences with respect to their progressive pro-Hamas base. And I think the decision that is being made to withhold, congressionally passed aid to Israel is outrageous. And I think the president should be ashamed of himself. Just a few days ago, I was in the Capitol where he stood before a group of Holocaust survivors and said that his support of Israel is ironclad. And that we will support them. And then to basically withhold aid is really unconscionable.
I want to get your reaction to this. Is South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham on Meet the Press yesterday talking about the administration choosing to cut off aid to Israel at a crucial moment in this war, by the way. Take a look.
The idea that America would not send a nickel of aid, echoed by a United States senator when all the Jews are trying to be killed by radical Islamic groups, tells us where we're at as a nation. The Republican Party is with Israel without apology.
Well, historians would say, why is it okay for Reagan to do it and not President Biden? But let me ask you about
why is it okay?
Deal.
Well, can I say this? Why is it okay for America to drop 2 nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki to end their existential threat war? Why was it okay for us to do that? I thought it was okay. To Israel, do whatever you have to do to survive as a Jewish state.
Senator, again, military officials say
whatever
the technology has changed. But let me ask you about how all
these
of this
military officials that you're talking about
let me ask you something.
Full of crap.
All right. So, and a lot of people on the right feel the same way Lindsey Graham feels there. But I thought this was interesting. On Friday, 26 House Democrats, so your colleagues in the House, sent a letter to Jake Sullivan saying they're deeply concerned about what Joe Biden is doing in Rafah. What do you make of that coming from Democrats?
By the way, you never see the mainstream media praise Ronald Reagan as much as they have over the past few days. Look, I think when you see what is happening, Democrats are divided. They are deeply divided. And, you have a lot of Jewish Democrats, colleagues like Josh Gottheimer, Jared Moskowitz, who have been staunch in their support of Israel. And believe that the United States needs to do everything that we can to support our greatest ally. 76 years ago, Harry Truman recognized the state of Israel 11 minutes after its founding. 11 minutes could cost Israel a lot here today because of Joe Biden's inaction. And it really is distressing to a lot of people. And I think that's why you see 26 Democrats speaking out. They realize they have anti-Semites in their party. They realize the Squad is a grave threat to the state of Israel because of their opposition to Israel as a Jewish state. You have members of Congress, joining in on chants from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, calling for the eradication of the state of Israel. You have members of Congress showing up at Columbia University, joining in with students who are chanting, "We are Hamas." October 7th was just the beginning. It speaks volumes to the problems within the Democratic Party right now with respect to anti-Semitism and support for the state of Israel. So I commend my 26 colleagues who are speaking out and pushing back against President Biden.
And yet in 2019, when President Biden was campaigning for the presidency, he had a much different message towards Israel. Take a listen to this.
The idea that we would cut off military aid to an ally, our only true ally in the entire region, is absolutely preposterous. It's just beyond my comprehension anyone would do that.
Congressman, what's changed?
Politics. Jerry Nadler opposed my bill, the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act, despite being a co-sponsor of the very same bill in 2018. Chuck Schumer called for regime change. Nancy Pelosi called for Benjamin Netanyahu to resign. They are deeply petrified of their progressive radical base, this pro-Hamas group of agitators that could cost them the election in Michigan and Minnesota and other parts of the country in congressional and Senate races. And so they are doing everything they can to try and appease this pro-Hamas wing of their party. And it's unconscionable when you actually look at the responsibility of the president and the fact that Congress passed aid to Israel just a few short weeks ago, and the administration said that they would move the aid.
Yeah, remarkable.
Speaker Johnson is so furious, and I am hopeful we will take action this week.
Yeah, Speaker Johnson put his neck on the line in this thing, and now the administration is cutting off that aid at a crucially important time in this war. I don't think this Biden strategy is working, by the way. The New York Times has a poll out this morning. Donald Trump is leading Joe Biden in 5 out of 6 swing states. Michigan's one of them. So this Michigan strategy, this confused policy that the White House thinks is going to help them pick up those 16 electoral votes, is not working, at least right now, May 13th, 5.5 months from Election Day, according to the most recent polls we got. New York Times, Siena, out this morning. Congressman, we'll leave it there. Great to have you back on this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.